We finally have our first look at Jedi Survivor's gameplay, which dropped last night at the Game Awards. Now, I have combed through the trailer several times. I've dug through a whole ton of information from what I can gather now that the trailer has dropped, and we are going to go over absolutely everything in this video today. First off, what did I think of the trailer? I think the trailer was great, as we all basically expected. Respawn have more than earned the benefit of the doubt with their games, but it doesn't need to be given here. This trailer was awesome. It tells us more about the game, about the planets we'll be going to, the characters that will be returning, what Cal is up to, who the guy in the back to tank is, and much, much more. I will say first off, this looks like it's just a much more refined version of Jedi Fallen Order, which is exactly what I was looking for with this game. Of course, it's only a trailer and we can only go by what's in front of us, but things are looking good so far. Now, if you guys are hyped for this game, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be covering it all the way up to its release and beyond. And let me know your thoughts on the trailer down in the comments. But now let's dive into it. So let's start off with some of the obvious, the story and the characters that we can gauge from the trailer so far. So Cal Kestis is obviously returning, and Cal looks like he's seen some shit in the 5 years that has passed between the first game. Of course, BD1 is right there beside him, as he damn well should be. Now, apart from Cal and BD1, the only returning character in this trailer seems to be Seer, who seems to have embraced being a Jedi once again, as she obviously cut herself off from the Force in the first game, but it seems like she's done with all that here. Now, notice there was no Merrin or Grease in this trailer, but we do see the Stinger Mantis, but not the crew of the first game in its entirety. They could absolutely still be in this game, just not in the trailer specifically, but I thought it was absolutely worth pointing out still. Now let's talk about the dude in the back to tank, as that's been the #1 cause for speculation with this game since the first teaser dropped 6 months ago. We see him a few times in the trailer, and we now have a better idea on who this could be and how he got here. And also if he's actually going to be the game's main villain. Now, from what we can gather from the dialogue in the trailer, he mentions that the Order is gone and that he was betrayed by the one he trusted most. And it seems that that is the reason why he ended up in the tank. The trailer seems to be setting him up as the main villain of the game, as this also appears to be him working alongside the bounty hunters that approach Cal in other parts of the trailer. So the trailer didn't give a whole lot away, but it definitely gave us something to speculate over, which is good. I don't think they revealed too much, just the right amount. Now, the other character of note in the trailer is this guy here. Now, in the trailer, Cal calls him Bode, but we now know after some further digging that this character's name is Bode Acuna, and he is a mercenary. So he's not a former Jedi from anything we can gather so far. He's just a mercenary. And he is going to be teaming up with Cal through stages of this game. So it seems like from what the trailer shows us that Cal seeks out whoever it is in the back to tank to possibly help him restore the Jedi Order. But the guy who comes out of the tank is hell-bent on killing the Jedi instead, for the reasons that led him to being put in the tank in the first place. It's kind of a similar sort of character style to Taron Malicos from the first game. Cal went to him wanting to rebuild the Order. Taron basically says, "You're a dumbass, the Jedi are gone, join me or die." Seems like we've got a bit of a similar thing going on here, except Back the Boy seems to be hunting Cal. Now notice there were no Inquisitors in this trailer, which is odd as they were such a big part of the first game, but this of course doesn't mean they're not going to be in the game. Keep in mind the first game had a lot of surprises that weren't given away in trailers. I expect this game to do the same thing. Now let's talk gameplay. Now this game has clearly built on the base of Fallen Order. Now from what we see in the trailer, it looks like we could potentially actually be flying the Stinger Mantis. In the first game, it was very much an on-rail system. You'd basically get in it and go from point A to point B in a cutscene like state, but you could still roam around the ship. But this time around, it could be a little bit different. Keep in mind, Grease isn't there, and Grease was the one flying the ship all through the first game. Now, we know this game has adopted next-gen hardware exclusively and that it's going to be much bigger. So traversing some of these planets in the ship is absolutely not out of the question. But the lightsaber combat. The lightsaber combat has undergone some changes, including force powers as well. Nothing overly major from what we can see in this trailer. However, there was one thing that stuck out to me, and that was Cal using a lightsaber as a way to drop down a wall. This could be an entirely new mechanic to help you explore these worlds. As for the lightsabers, it seems like dual lightsabers are returning, both in the form of dual wielding and the double-edged lightsaber. Also, the Kylo Ren crossguard design seems to be in the game as well. So these different variations seems to be falling into what they're calling stances. I imagine it's a new lightsaber combat system designed specifically for that individual lightsaber design. So that's really cool to see. It's going to add so much depth to the gameplay. Cal is actually seen using the crossguard saber when taking down commando droids in the trailer. So they will be a really cool enemy to take on as well. We actually see a few droids in this trailer, including sentry droids, super battle droids, and the normal battle droids as well. There's also bounty hunters, just like in the first game, normal stormtrooper variants, creatures, including a wampa. So the enemy variety, just from what we've seen in this trailer, seems very, very good. I will just note, we don't see Cal using a blaster in the trailer, at least from what I've seen. I guess they're saving that for when the game drops or something. Now, one of the major gameplay changes we can see in this trailer was in the form of taming and mounting creatures. This actually gets me really hyped for two reasons. One, it's a brand new mechanic that is going to switch up how you explore the world. But two, it's the fact that they felt the need to add a system like this into the game in the first place. This clearly tells us that these worlds we're going to be exploring are going to be massive. Otherwise, why put a system like this in the game? So that fills me with a lot of confidence. Now, speaking of the worlds of this game, what planets have we got? Well, it looks like we're probably going to have more than the first game, I'll put it that way. From the start of the trailer, we have the planet that Back the Boy will be on. I imagine this is tucked away somewhere in the galaxy. We also have this sandy, rocky planet that kind of resembles something in between Tatooine and Geonosis. I don't think it's either of them though, it's probably an entirely new planet. We've also got the planet that Seer is on. I think this is probably Zepho. I think we actually see Zepho a few times in this trailer, to be honest, which of course was also a planet that was in the first game. There are a few shots in the trailer that could be Zepho, but could absolutely be somewhere else entirely as well, so it's hard to tell. We also have this Kashyyyk looking planet. Again, I don't think this is Kashyyyk, but it could be something similar. We also have what I absolutely think is Coruscant. We know this planet is going to be in the game in some way already, but this appears to be the first gameplay / cutscene look of Coruscant. This is without question the planet that I'm most excited to explore. We've got a misty, foresty kind of planet at the end of the trailer as well. It's pretty hard to make out where that is. It could be Bogano, maybe. Really hard to tell. But that's just from what's in the trailer. There is almost certainly more waiting for us when we eventually get our hands on the game in March. So overall, I think this trailer was a massive W. Definitely answered some questions that a lot of us had regarding the game, but it didn't give away too much. I think the way it is built on the first game, judging from the trailer, has been good. The first game was one of the best Star Wars games ever made, but it had a couple minor problems that held it back from just being perfect. And judging from what we've seen in this gameplay trailer, they've gone out of their way to address those issues. I keep seeing them saying that this game is much more responsive with the combat, which I'm glad to hear. The lightsaber combat seems to evolve nicely overall. The lightsaber combat in the first game, especially when you were fighting stormtroopers, it felt like you were swinging a baseball bat. Now, I know that's mainly a Disney thing with no dismemberment. Seems that that is still the case here, but at worst, you can still slice up droids for fun. Now, it is worth noting that they've released details on the collector's edition, which includes a fully functioning Cal Kestis lightsaber and a box to keep it in, as well as a steelbook case for the game and of course the game itself. This looks great. I will be knocking over anyone in my path to get my hands on this without a doubt. But guys, that is it for the trailer breakdown and details. Let me know what you want to see in terms of content for Survivor over the coming weeks and months, because I am like absurdly hyped for this game. It looks great. So be sure to drop a like in this video if you are hyped for Survivor, subscribe for a ton more Star Wars game content, and I'll see you all again real soon.